From the Homestead Studios in Santa Clarita, California, this is a Headache Soul production. Welcome to Just the Tip-Sters, America's favorite true crime podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Morgan. With me today is my handsome and talented co-host, Joshua, not a white woman, Bevan. You are not a white woman, my friend.
No, I am not.
And we're going to be talking ad nauseum about white women and other things. Yeah.
Oh,
just
boy.
in case anyone, I don't think anyone would ever be questioning if you were a white woman.
It's hard because we're only on, we're on
Right,
sound, so you can't actually see us.
Yeah, you're going to have to take my word for it.
Right.
Joshua is not a white woman.
Right.
Yeah, but if he went missing, we would all look for him.
Oh,
we would all look for him for sure.
For like 8 minutes.
No, much longer than that. You stop that. So this is a little different because we know who did it. And this is the update that happened recently with Natalee Holloway. The reason that I want to talk about it is because of different layers, many different layers on this. I'm entitling this episode Natalee Holloway's Case Closed ? Because Joran Van Der Sloot is such a sociopath. While he did give what sounds like a very plausible scenario about how he killed Natalee Holloway, I do not know that I believe anything he says. And he's lied so many times and even been, prosecuted and fined for what he did to Natalee's parents.
Right.
Very reminiscent of the alleged Long Island serial killer Rex Heuermann, who uses victims' cell phones to call family members and taunt them.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, and Joran tried to pilfer $250,000 out of Natalee's parents for information on what he did with her.
Oh my gosh.
They put a deposit down of $25,000 and he took that. And so we're going to get into the whole legality of what he did. But before we start that, this episode is sponsored today by our friends at Graveline Tours. You can find them at graveline.rip. In the promo code, put Tipster40 and you get a healthy 40% off discount. And it's so exciting. I've been communicating with Adam, the owner of the company. Occasionally, Blaze has a conflicting appointment. So he's been doing some of the tours.
Oh, okay.
And he's so handsome, and he videotapes himself in front of different homes and crime scenes and puts it on TikTok.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So if you have TikTok and you want to see what Adam, the handsome Adam, looks like, if you want to see what Blaze looks like, if you want to see some, video from the tours, go to Graveline. I don't know what their handle is on TikTok. I'll have to find that out. I apologize. But if you go, I bet you can find a link if you go to their website.
Sure. Okay.
So yeah, graveline.rip. They are our friends. If you find yourself in Los Angeles and you want to do something super fun, consider taking a tour. We had a beautiful listener, Tipster Judy, who asked if they have gift certificates, and they do.
Oh,
so she's getting them for family members.
Oh, fun.
And when I texted Adam and said, "Hey, do you have gift certificates?" He goes, "We absolutely do." So
cool.
Yeah, it's very exciting. So another thank you to Tipster Alicia on Spotify. So I know jack shit, nothing really about Spotify, but she left a review and I got a notification. It said, you've had an interaction with a listener on Spotify. I'm like, oh no. The first thing I think is, oh my God, they're going to tell me how terrible I am. And it was on the Dia Abrams episode. And Alicia said, excellent as usual.
Oh,
I know.
That's
so
beautiful.
Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know so little about Spotify. I had to change my password to get in because I don't know anything about anything. So, but that was very kind to get that message. And if you have time, would you please consider leaving us a review or a rating on Apple Podcasts or on any place that you, not all of the platforms allow for ratings and reviews, but if they do on yours, we would appreciate it. That is how people find us.
Absolutely.
And we could use some finding. And I'd be very grateful for a rating or review. All right. So let's get to what happened in the last week, which is Joran Van Der Sloot was extradited to the U.S. to Alabama for the Alabama Supreme Court to proffer a statement, which is what you give in a plea deal. So he was sentenced, but unfortunately, it's simultaneous to his sentencing in Peru for killing another girl. So if there's anything that can come out of Stephanie Flores' murder, is that she is the reason that he is going to get that he's been sentenced for Natalee, even though it's not what any of us want. But Arubian officials have weighed in and said they are not counting out that they might sentence him, even though the statute of limitations in Aruba was up after 12 years and it's been 18 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of details in this case, which is why I wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
And also Joshua knows we have a clip we're going to be adding in later, one of our favorite stand-up comics. And you think, how can something be funny in this situation? But it's such a brilliant social commentary.
Sure.
And, we're going to have to talk about the white woman syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, guess what? I'm a white woman. And I didn't discount this, but I will tell you, I absolutely didn't pay attention to it as much as I should, considering what I am doing here in the true crime space.
Sure.
And it took me probably 4 years ago before I was like, oh my God, this is so true.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what pushed me over the edge, which it was the Gabby Petito case. And I got angry because the whole world was looking to find her. And I thought, this is a woman, what I'm going to say is not going to win me any friends. This is a young girl who is on a lifelong road trip with her partner, and they had domestic issues in the past. And this does not mean if you have a broken picker that you shouldn't be looked for,
Sure.
But someone like Natalee Holloway, who, went on a trip that she got as a kind of an extra special surprise because she was so great in school and had a great senior year. It was like a celebration.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean one person needs to be looked for more than the other. It just, I wish I knew why some cases capture everyone's mind and heart. And granted, looking back, it's a lot of white people. White women. I will tell you, when Carly Russell went missing, I think I got so angry because from second one, I could smell it was a lie. And I actually have written proof because I texted two friends. I was or messaged two friends like, hey, this doesn't smell good. What do you think?
Sure.
It made me angry because she said a bald white guy with orange hair used a baby to trick her, to get her, to kidnap her. And people were like, Prince Harry?
Jeez.
I know. That was funny. Yeah. But I mean, that made me so angry. The amount of resources used in a ruse, and everybody, I mean, in that case, she was, Black, and that case made national news. I hate to say this, it sounds terribly shitty, but young, beautiful women. I think that was what showed us young, beautiful women.
Right.
They look for them, which is part of the reason why I worked so hard on the Will Sarazan case, because he was a 58-year-old white guy, and nobody gave a shit. And that's not true. There were people that cared, a big group of people who cared and looked for him for a long time. And, we were never going to find him. But We still haven't found him, but anyway, that's another long story that you can find in past episodes. But I don't know what captures not America, the world's. Yeah, I don't know, but
it definitely has to do a lot to do with
Young,
beauty
beautiful.
and beauty standards and yeah.
And look, I don't want to toot my own horn, but more than one man has said I would have been a supermodel in the Renaissance days or whatever. I would have been a Rubenesque model. And I'm like, thanks for somehow complimenting me and telling me I'm fat at the same time. But, whatever. Yeah, maybe you gotta work on that, work on your lines. But yeah.
You look really good for
for fat. Yeah, I was walking across the street wintertime in Cincinnati, and I had on like a long burgundy like coat. It was cold, and I'm walking across the street, and a homeless guy goes, "You should be a plus size model." And I was like, "Thank you. Would you like a new bottle of Mad Dog 2020, sir?
Yes.
Or what can I do to? Thanks so much for that."
Ouch.
Yeah, I'd rather not. But okay, thanks. Yeah. I think thank you. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty then. Okay. So anyway, back to Natalee's case, which I don't know. I mean, not everyone has the funding or the energy or the time to work on something so terrible as your daughter going missing on a class trip that was supposed to be a surprise, a gift. And, Beth Holloway is a real amazing advocate for her daughter. I mean, she's pretty spectacular. And it's not that there aren't fantastic relatives, parents, family members who want to be advocates for family members who go missing or are murdered. There are, but myself, I don't know where they get the energy, because I think it would be so depleting and so exhausting, and you get up day after day after day, and 18 years later, a piece of shit.
Wow.
A true piece of shit. I mean, a true sociopath, which is why this, episode is, is her case closed ? Because I don't know that I believe any goddamn thing he said because of all the lying. So this is from CNN and part of the press conference that Natalee's parents were at, and Beth was the spokesperson. So this is, when you're talking about different countries, even different jurisdictions in our own country in the U.S., I know there can't be one through line injustice about time that should be served for something like taking a life, but it's so aggravating.
Yeah.
It's so aggravating. So Joran Van Der Sloot, who's now 36, it remains unclear whether he will serve time for bludgeoning Natalee Holloway to death on a Caribbean island, because Aruba's statute of limitations for homicide has passed. But the public prosecutor's office there has not said also that he won't serve time. They're waiting for all of the court documents to make a decision on whether they can add more time onto his, it's so layered. If he leaves Peru, and then he might be extradited back to Aruba to stand trial for Natalee's murder.
Oh, okay.
So he pled guilty in an Alabama federal court to extorting and defrauding Natalee Holloway's family. So he pled guilty to that by proffering the statement that he killed her.
Okay.
So that plea deal allowed the 30 years that he got for what he did to go concurrently with the amount of time he's spending in a Peruvian prison for killing Stephanie Flores.
Got it. Okay.
So that's why it's all these years later, this is why he finally admitted to killing her, because he was going to get the time.
Just because it suited him.
Uh-huh.
Just for his own benefit. Okay.
Well, thank you for saying that, because I will tell you, every thing I've read, and every journalist says this plea deal seems to suit him and Natalee's family.
Okay.
That's the only good thing about this, because I'm like, why should this piece of shit be given any, sort of leeway? But so he was accused of trying to sell information about the location of Natalee's remains to her mother in exchange for $250,000. This plea deal appeared to benefit both Joran and Holloway'S family. He was sentenced to 20 years for financial crimes, which will run simultaneously as his ongoing prison sentence in Peru. He was convicted of killing another woman, and then in 2021 for trafficking cocaine into his Peruvian prison.
Oh boy.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
So the amount of time that you can spend in jail in Peru is 35 years.
Okay.
So he was given 20 years for killing Stephanie Flores, and then he was given 18 years for the drug trafficking, but that's 38 years. He will only serve 35.
Got it.
He's such a piece of shit.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah, the U.S. does not have jurisdiction over Holloway'S homicide in Aruba. Her parents now have certainty as to who killed their daughter, as if it was ever a question. It's over. Joran Van Der Sloot is no longer the suspect in my daughter's murder. He is the killer, said Beth Holloway. After 18 years, Natalee's case is solved. He gave a proffer in which he finally confessed to killing Natalee. So a proffered deal, a defendant offers information they know about a crime as part of a plea deal. He admitted to killing the teen. This is so hard. Just hang with me here, please. He killed her with a cinder block on the beach after she rejected his sexual advances. They met, and we're going to go over a timeline a little later. They met at Carlos and Charlie's, a bar. They were dancing. They left together. They went for a walk on the beach. He tried to, and his beautiful poetic words, feel her up.
Oh, boy.
And she kneed him in the crotch.
Oh, geez.
So he knocked her down on the beach and began kicking her, including in the head. And then he picked up a cinder block and crushed her skull.
Oh, man.
And then pushed her into the ocean.
Oh, wow.
Her body has never been found. In 2012, a judge signed an order declaring her legally dead. 5 years after Natalee was murdered, Joran Van Der Sloot is gambling in Peru, and he meets 21-year-old Peruvian girl Stephanie Flores. And she was apparently, really good. I don't know if it was poker or blackjack they were playing, but she was really good. They met at a table.
Okay.
And then they went up to Joran's room, and apparently she spurned his advances, and he strangled and bludgeoned her and left her between two beds in his room and then checked out.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Right. So a U.S. federal judge, Anna Manasco, sentenced Van Der Sloot to 20 years for the extortion and wire fraud charges. That was against Natalee's mother. I've considered your confession to the brutal murder of Natalee Holloway, the judge said. You have murdered in separate incidents years apart 2 beautiful women who refused your sexual advances. So between 2005 and 2007, if you remember, which apparently Joshua doesn't because I texted him, did you hear the Van Der Sloot and Holloway news? And he said, did you make those 2 names up?
I swear, I looked at the text and I thought, oh, okay, you're just making this up. You're talking about like characters.
Yeah.
They're
anime?
Like characters from a Roald Dahl book or something.
Van Der Sloot and Holloway?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joran Van Der Sloot is the bad guy of the latest Roald Dahl book.
Uh-huh. Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so fun. And I thought Joshua had made the funniest joke he'd ever made.
No, I was being 100% serious. Who are you talking about?
Right. The funniest
I did not
joke.
remember who you were talking about.
Yeah,
at all.
I thought that was hilarious. And if I say to you, Joran Van Der Sloot, America, Australia, Canada, 42 countries we are heard in, the UAE. Would you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yes, but Joshua doesn't.
Yeah, no. I think this is further proof that I am
That you're the
not a
perfect
white
person?
woman.
Oh, that you're not a white woman.
Because I don't know true crime.
Yeah, okay. You're right. That's good. You're good. Oh my Lord. Yeah, I thought he was hilarious, but no, he didn't know what I was talking about.
It was 100%.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Oh boy. So a spokesperson for the Aruba Public Prosecutor's Office did not rule out the possibility that Van Der Sloot could face new legal action in Aruba because he confessed to killing Natalee Holloway. The Public Prosecutor's Office will reiterate once more that the Holloway case remains an open investigation in Aruba, spokesperson Ann Angela told CNN. In light of Van Der Sloot's confession, Aruban authorities have requested the U.S. Department of Justice for official court documents and transcripts and all documents related to the investigation, which we will review before deciding on procedural steps to be taken. And the reason that is happening is because the statute of limitations for homicide in Aruba is 12 years. I don't get that, but it's one of those, the aggravating things that we talk about there. First of all, how can there be a statute of limitations on murder?
Yeah, that's confusing to me.
I believe there should be no statute of limitations on rape. I get it. Harder to prove. But there's a statute of limitations on rape. You can rape someone and they can, it can be 5 years or 10 years. And then you have something that might prove it at 11 years and it's tough shit. I mean, I guess we can't have a statute of limitations on every crime, but I'm there's part of me that thinks, why not?
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't understand, like, especially when he has made a confession now.
Yeah.
Now,
and a particularly brutal.
Yeah. I mean, this was yes.
To say, I tried to feel her up. She kneed me in the crotch. I pushed her down in the sand and began kicking her, including in her head. And then I saw a cinder block. I picked it up and smashed her skull and pushed her in the ocean. The end.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. So after this confession, someone did ask this representative from the public prosecutor's office, does the statute of limitations apply even because it's been 18 years, even though he confessed now? And the spokesperson said, I can't answer you unequivocally. It depends. Okay. It depends on several factors within the investigation. Bear in mind also that we don't know yet what is in the official court documents and documents related to the investigation. There's no simple yes or no at this moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they've got a loophole that they're going to work on.
I hope so.
And
I hope he never gets out is my whole point.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
If you're going to have like a term limit on something like that in Peru, if you can only spend 35 years total, as soon as that's up, then extradite him to Aruba, charge him there, and I don't know what you get there, but
right,
yeah.
I mean, another 30 years, and then
right,
yeah.
So I misspoke, and I said he was sentenced to 20 years for killing Stephanie Flores, but it was a 28 years for murdering Stephanie Flores, and then in 2021, he was convicted of trafficking cocaine into the prison, and he was sentenced to an additional 18 years. However, you can only, prison sentences in Peru, you can only serve 35 years unless you're given a life sentence, which he wasn't. So he could be released from prison in Peru in 2045, and he would still be alive. He was a young man.
Yeah.
He'd be in his 50s or something. Yeah. So Peru, allowed for his temporary release to be extradited to the U.S. for the extortion and wire fraud charges, which I'm grateful that they did that, So he is returned to Peru, and I would like, what I like, who cares? I would like for them to, if he's still alive, after his sentence in Peru, I would love for them to extradite him to Aruba and put him on trial there. And you know what is so heartbreaking about this, Joshua? And I know it probably shouldn't matter. Killers come from all socioeconomic backgrounds. Sure. His father is a judge.
Yeah.
His father's a judge.
Mm,
I'm going to say, and this makes me uncomfortable to say it, he came from what would be, by all intents and purposes, considered a good family.
yeah.
I do believe that his mother and father aided and abetted him not being arrested and charged numerous times.
Sure.
He was arrested numerous times between 2005 and 2007. They would pick him up and then have to release him, citing, they just didn't have enough evidence.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, numerous times arrested.
Okay.
And, when your dad is a Dutch judge, high ranking.
Sure.
I mean, I understand parents want to do everything they can to protect their kids. I also think that if you have 1 ounce of doubt about what your child did, I mean, he was such a piece of shit. He just was like a rich kid who went around like, pilfering money and stuff from everyone else. He ends up in, Peru, gambling,
Right.
and then kills a woman because she, a second woman, because she, doesn't want to do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
I know I'm not a parent, so I'm going to shut my face right now.
Yeah, it's hard because I have, in my capacity of parenting, stood up for my kids.
Oh, yes,
even,
you do.
Even before hearing the whole thing, and I'm
But you also, if you hear that maybe they were in the wrong, you also
then,
want them to acknowledge that too.
Right. Then we have a discussion when we get home. But
Mhm.
I do my best to stop whatever outside consequence happens, and then when we get home, have that. Yeah, that's a struggle. Like all the, I'm sure it wasn't all of a sudden I realized my son is a sociopath. I'm
Right.
sure. I'm sure
There were
yeah.
signs. Yeah.
I would have to imagine.
Right. I mean, I feel like the best answer I've ever heard was from Mark Humphreys, who was the oldest of 7 kids. And I said, if one of your siblings came to you and said, I killed someone, would you turn them in? And he said, no, but I would encourage them to turn themselves in.
There you go.
And I was like, that's the best answer
Totally.
I think I could ever imagine.
Right.
At first, I was shocked when he said no,
No.
but I don't have siblings, so I don't know. But I think that that's a very even-handed, fair-minded answer.
Right.
No, maybe not, but I sure would encourage them to turn themselves in.
Yeah.
So here's poor Stephanie Flores, 21-year-old, beautiful, brilliant, apparently, Stephanie Flores, who meets psychopath, Joran Van Der Sloot at gambling tables in Peru. And in 2011, I'm sorry, it's 2010, he murders Stephanie and he is arrested. I mean, it was so sloppy. The room is in his name.
Yeah, what do you expect at this point?
You leave a dead girl in your room and check out.
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to just be able to run forever? Or say, oh, I left her in the room and then obviously somebody else came in later and killed her.
Yeah.
They had video of the only 2 people entering the room were the 2 of them, and video of the only person exiting him. Someone would have come in through the window. Maybe it was Spider-Man
Right.
who killed her. I mean, he, at the time, he's 23 years old. He kills Natalee when he's 18. He's 23 years old, and he kills her. And then he pleads guilty and tries to use a defense called violent emotion.
Violent emotion?
It's the Peruvian version of insanity.
Okay.
Violent emotion. He said he got infuriated when his laptop was open and Stephanie looked at his laptop and saw that he was connected to still missing, American Natalee Holloway.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, he was on his own laptop Googling himself?
What do you think?
Like,
Probably.
That's, oof.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
that's next level psychopath.
Yeah, narcissism. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Right. There's 2 beds in the room, and he leaves his laptop open on one with, let's see what they say about me today.
Wow.
Yeah. So he caught her looking at it, and then he bludgeons and strangles her. So an attorney for Stephanie's family says the manner in which Stephanie was killed is disproportionate violence. The autopsy found that she was bludgeoned and asphyxiated. We do not believe the violent emotion plea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're going to play a clip for you now that hopefully you can hang with us. It's about 6 minutes long, and it is such a brilliant social commentary from Patrice O'Neill.
Oh my God, I love Patrice.
Yeah, he was so spectacular. He died at the age of 41 of a stroke. It was such a loss because he was clear-eyed in his commentary on everything, men and women's relationships, to each other. Definitely a great commentary on men, but his, because he was a man. But I was always so impressed with how he sort of described women, because he's just as adept at describing women as he is men.
Yeah.
But this is one of my favorite chunks in the whole wide world, and it's I just want to give you a little warning. It's uncomfortable, but it's actually entitled Missing White Woman.
Congratulations to you, my friend. Look at that white woman you're with. God damn. That nigga behind you going, yeah, son, I'm with my girl, but yo, for real? That white woman's amazing, isn't she? Tell the truth. He's with his black girlfriend like, nah, I don't know, but she's high level. That's a high level white woman right there. That white woman is man, oh man, oh man. Black women get mad at that, but that is top shelf white woman right there. You know how you can tell how pretty a white woman is? The value, you look at her and then you wonder how long they would look for if she was missing. Come on, take a look, take a look. Look at this nigga, look. Ooh. I saw you look mad, sweetie. How long, if you was missing, how long you think they were? Exactly, she went. You know the deal. I ain't saying nothing wrong. White woman's life is valuable. What's his name? Joran Van Der Sloot? Right? We find out he was a serial killer. Man, he kills women. That's what he do. He do it well. You know what I mean? We know the girl that he supposedly had, what's the girl in Aruba? Natalee Holloway, right? But the one, he just killed a girl in Peru. What's her name? Exactly. Look how fast you said Natalie. You said Natalie. Natalee Holloway, that angel. Y'all said that like Family Feud. All right, name a white girl been missing for 5 years in Aruba. Natalee Holloway. Survey says. Name a Peruvian girl that was killed yesterday. What is that big-head, third-world Peruvian bitch's name? It has to be Yoris or something goofy. Don't get mad at yourself. I gave it to you. You saw how fast you said Natalee Holloway. Diana Ross right here said that. She knew her name. That white girl with Natalee Holloway. Man, you called yourself, woo! God bless you, man. That is high level right there. And don't be ashamed of it, gorgeous. She mad as hell. Fuck that white bitch. Wait, you know, come on. Ain't nobody looking for you. I might look for you, but the news ain't. You think Fox is reporting you're missing? Let's be honest. Nancy Grace, she leads story on Nancy Grace for the next 6 months. Look. I'm looking at her because she's mad as hell. Black women don't like that shit, but it is what it is. Let's be. I'm gonna be like that. Let's be honest. That little girl that went missing, she was sailing. Little girl that went sailing. I forgot her damn name, but she went sailing and went missing in the Indian Ocean. Okay, and they spent. Good Lord, her mast broke and she was floating around, and she gave out her little signal, her beacon. They looked for her. They spent $500,000. Like tax money to search for her. Now, if that's my daughter, I want that to happen too, but if you go sailing, let's be honest, how long you think? Are they gonna spend $5? Come on. Remember football players in Miami went missing? They went sailing. They looked for them for 8 minutes. Maybe. They just sent somebody at the edge of the beach. I don't see him. We have to call off the search because there's too much sun. The conditions are abnormally difficult. If I go sailing, I'm taking a white baby on a keychain with me. If my boat go down, they gonna find me. I'm gonna have it hooked right to the side of my belt. And I'm gonna dress the baby real white too. I'm gonna put sweatpants on it and a pair of Ugg boots, and I'm gonna take a picture. Look at this white baby. You don't come get me. This white baby going down with me.
So yeah, missing white women. I guess we could talk forever about
sweatpants and
and Ugg boots. I know. Thanks a lot, Joshua. That was the part that was like, so that got me right in the gut right there. If he'd said yoga pants and Ugg boots, I'd have probably lost my shit. But yeah, hanging a baby off your belt wearing sweatpants and Ugg boots. If only the baby had like a sippy cup with pumpkin spice latte in it. Yeah. I was like, oh, Patrice. Yeah. Yeah. Missing white woman. So I am grateful to a murdered brown woman from Peru because she is the reason why Joran Van Der Sloot is, in prison now, and why he was able to actually finally confess to killing Natalee Holloway without trying to, get money from her family. So I am grateful to her. And what was so funny to me is I heard this bit on Comedy Central on my Sirius satellite radio. And I know some of our listeners, some of our tipsters are, detail-oriented people. And when he said, what's the name of that Peruvian girl he killed yesterday? And I said, Stephanie Flores, and out loud to myself in my car.
Right.
And, he's like, nobody knows her name. And there are definitely people who know Stephanie's name, but, it was a very salient point he made.
Yeah.
No, unless you're Joshua, and then he doesn't even know who the fuck Natalee Holloway is.
Sure.
Or Joran Van Der Sloot. Yeah. So yeah. So you're like that special creature that do you know where you are right now?
What are we talking about?
Right.
Oh man.
Like, I can't believe you show up every week. Does your car just automatically, you're like, I think I'm supposed to be here for something.
My friend invites me over, and then every single time starts bringing up
She
these
forces me to talk
murdery
into a
things.
microphone.
It's so weird.
It's so crazy.
Like the conversation.
She must think I like that. She offers me like tea and cookies, and then we talk murder.
Yeah.
I got to start buying cookies, I guess. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to go over this timeline because there are details that I think are interesting. It has been a long 18 years for poor Beth Holloway. May 26th of 2005, Natalee Holloway and her classmates arrive in Aruba. And there's 124 students, 7 adult chaperones, and they are at the Holiday Inn near the northern end of the island. May 29th, Natalee meets Joran Van Der Sloot. He's only 17 at the time. I think it was 18. 17-year-old Dutch national. And they have a good time at Carlos and Charlie's bar, which is a very popular place for Americans to hang out when in Aruba. And they leave sometime after the bar closes. There's a video of them leaving about 1 a.m. And Natalee is seen getting into a car with Joran Van Der Sloot and his 2 friends, Deepak and Satish Kalpo. Now, the Kalpos were arrested numerous times too, saying, even if you didn't do it, they at one point thought all 3 boys had, raped her and killed her.
Wow. Okay.
But they're like, even if you were not involved in this, you know what happened. You're aware somehow. I still believe they know, and they didn't say anything either, which is something that really bothered me. I can't believe people don't talk, but okay. May 30th, it's time for the class to depart, and no one can locate Natalee. Her passport, her bags, everything is, in her room, and her chaperone calls her mother, Beth, and says, what happened? What's going on? I don't know where she is. So Beth is just like overwhelmed, immediately flies there. They go to the Holiday Inn. They find the video from Carlos and Charlie's. They show up at Joran Van Der Sloot's house, and he's like, oh yeah, I left the bar with Natalee and the Kalpo brothers. We went to a lighthouse to look at the lighthouse, and then we dropped her off at the Holiday Inn.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. He is such a liar, which is why this is probably what happened to her. But I'm still the end of this episode is always going to have a question mark at the end because he's such a liar. He lied so many times about tiny details he didn't have to lie about. He didn't have to do this. And he's a bad liar. But I bet he has such a face. I mean, look at this face. Does that motherfucker look like he cares about anything?
No. Yeah.
So, yeah, June 1st, he's like, oh, yeah, I'll take you to the Holiday Inn. I'll show you there's a security guard who, she was kind of drunk, but a security guard helped her inside.
Huh.
So they go through all of the videotape, wasting precious hours and time. There's no security guard.
Yeah.
That was there to help find her because he's a liar. So June 1st of 2005, there's a first official search team organized. So she's not yet determined as missing in Aruba, but 100 tourists and locals start combing the area. I can't even, it's a beautiful show of, people showing up to help find someone. And the entire time she had been pushed in the ocean, according to Joran Van Der Sloot.
Yeah.
Over the next few weeks, there are volunteers from Texas, the Aruban police, the Dutch Marines, and 3 F-16 fighter planes from the Netherlands are used to try and find her, and there's no sign of her. June 5th of 2005, police make the first arrests. The first suspects detained in the case are former security guards at the hotel, that was a hotel next door that was closed for renovation, and they're released 8 days later. They arrest and release Joran Van Der Sloot's father and a party boat DJ. None of them can be held because there's no evidence. June 9th, Joran Van Der Sloot and the Kalpo brothers are taken into custody for the first time. So her parents At that point, Beth is still married to her father, her stepfather, last name Twitty. They pressure government officials, the deputy chief, to arrest the three men who were last spotted with Natalee. They now change their story. The Calpo brothers say they dropped Joran and Holloway off at a beach near the Holiday Inn, and that Joran said, I'll walk her home, but then later on said, oh yeah, I left her there and walked home myself. So now everyone's pointing fingers at different people.
Yeah.
It's like a month later, a judge orders the release of the Calpos, July 4th. Joran Van Der Sloot was held for another 60 days. The judge does not say why. July 17th, there is a piece of duct tape found with strands of hair on the Northeast coast. So it's sent to the FBI crime lab in Quantico, but it's a negative match to Natalee Holloway. That comes back on July 28th. On July 26th, 2005, investigators began draining a pond. There was a tip from a gardener that the Calpo brothers and Joran Van Der Sloot were seen digging next to a Marriott hotel the night that she went missing, and they start draining this pond across from the Marriott. But after July 30th, they abandoned the effort. September 3rd, Joran Van Der Sloot is set free. 1 week after the Calpos are rearrested, the brothers and Joran Van Der Sloot are released on the condition that they remain available. The investigation continues, is what the lead officer says. The case of Natalee Holloway has not concluded with these releases. July 16th, 2006, Joran Van Der Sloot is served a civil lawsuit in New York City. The suit filed with the Supreme Court in the state of New York accuses Joran of malicious, wanton, and willful disregard of the rights, safety, and well-being of Natalee Holloway, and also claims that his father enabled his son's predatory behavior. Yeah. So August 3rd, that case is dismissed because a judge said that, taxpayers would have to fund this, and there's only an ephemeral amount of evidence to see this case through.
Okay. March
1st through 3rd of 2006, he talks to Fox News. There was a lengthy interview with Greta Van Susteren. It airs over 3 nights. Joran Van Der Sloot recounts the details of his time with Holloway, from drinking with her at the bar to leaving her behind on the beach. He addresses some of the unusual elements of his story, like why his shoes went missing that night, probably because he kicked her in the head and got blood on.
Blood. Yeah.
December 14th, 2006, Natalee Holloway's parents take legal action against the Calpos. They take aim at the other 2 primary suspects and file a wrongful death suit against the Calpo brothers in Los Angeles. However, location once again proves to be the undoing. A judge dismisses the suit over a lack of jurisdiction on June 1st of 2007, so 6 months later. November 21st of 2007, Joran Van Der Sloot and the Calpos are arrested again. They're apprehended in the Netherlands, and Aruba says this is after the emergence of what's described as new incriminating evidence. However, the evidence fails to move the case forward, and all 3 suspects are released by December 7th. December 30th of 2007, divers investigate a fish trap off the Aruban coast. They used remote-operated vehicles to get pictures of what appeared to be a human skull, but it turns out to be a dead end. There was really nothing there. February 3rd, 2008, Joran Van Der Sloot says Natalee Holloway's body was dumped at sea. In a broadcast of hidden camera footage set up by a Dutch reporter, Joran Van Der Sloot says that Natalee Holloway had collapsed when they were on the beach together and he couldn't revive her, so he and a friend disposed of her body from a boat.
Wow.
When he's made aware that his confession was recorded, he says, I was lying.
Oh, man.
March 29th of 2010, he's running out of money, so he decides to offer to reveal the location of Natalee's body in exchange for $250,000. He offers a $25,000 upfront, as a deposit. And this is an attorney that's representing Natalee's family. So May 10th, this attorney meets with Joran Van Der Sloot. He takes $10,000 to a meeting in Aruba. He leads the way to a house that he said, Joran Van Der Sloot throws his father under the bus and said, my father buried Natalee in its foundation. Later that day, another $15,000 is wired to his account in the Netherlands. And then later he says to the attorney, I was lying. And then he goes to Peru to take part in a poker tournament.
Jeez.
So May 30th of 2010, he has, $25,000 to play poker. And he's at a table at a hotel in Lima, Peru, and he meets Stephanie Flores. And he kills her and leaves her in his room. He apparently had left instructions to tell the hotel staff, do not enter my room.
Oh,
so
boy.
it takes a few days for her body to be discovered.
Wow.
Yeah. While in Chile, he had cut his hair short, dyed it red, and he is found. And he is taken by taxi back to Lima, Peru, and held in a high-security Castro prison. June 27th of 2010, he's indicted in the U.S. for the wire fraud and extortion of Natalee's family. The indictment stems from the federal investigation that followed Van Der Sloot's attempt to acquire $250,000 from Beth Holloway. When asked why he wasn't arrested after the wire payment, and then he wouldn't have had the chance to kill Stephanie Flores, authorities said, well, there just wasn't enough evidence.
Oh, jeez.
I know, isn't that nice?
Wow.
January 11th of 2010, Joran Van Der Sloot pleads guilty to the murder of Stephanie Flores. He says, I wanted from the first moment to confess sincerely. I'm truly sorry for this act. I feel very bad. No, you don't. No, you do not. His defense blames his actions on extreme psychological trauma suffered from the long-running Natalee Holloway saga. Oh, my God. But prosecutors say, no, he killed her so he could also take her winnings from the casino because she was a brilliant poker player.
Oh, geez.
January 12th of 2012, Natalee Holloway is officially declared dead. A judge officially declares her dead 7 years after her disappearance. The next day, January 13th of 2012, Joran Van Der Sloot is sentenced to 28 years in prison for the death of Stephanie Flores, and he's ordered to pay $75,000 in reparations to her family. Natalee's family remains hopeful that he will face additional charges in the U.S., and he does, on the extortion charges.
Got it.
And he does. So there was an Oxygen documentary, is actually a docu-series in 2017 on Oxygen called The Disappearance of Natalee Holloway. I don't think it was bad. I also don't think it was very good. I mean, I know they were trying, it just, this kind of piece of shit dude named John Ludwig, he claimed that, Joran Van Der Sloot paid him $1,500 to dig up Natalee's remains, that he'd buried her on the beach and then cremate her in 2010. And this documentary does find bone fragments. They turn out to not be Natalee's. Natalee's mother sues the network and the production company, alleging the series was a fictional farce and it gave her unnecessary false hope and an extreme amount of suffering.
Wow.
I do not blame her. And just to let you know what kind of a awesome fella John Ludwig was, a few months later in March of 2018, he's stabbed to death because he tried to kidnap a woman in Florida.
Oh, jeez.
Right. Right. So, Peru agrees to extradite Joran Van Der Sloot to the U.S., and that's, where we are now. And he finally, at first he pled not guilty. And then on the extradition charge, on the extortion charge.
Got it.
But October 18th, he finally confesses to what he said happened to Natalee. He's such a... I'm still not sure that this is what happened to her, but it's the most feasible. It's the most feasible.
I'm with you. I have some questions about it, because if you're standing on the beach and you just shove a body into the water, or I mean, even if you swim it out a little ways, how does it not ever come back to shore?
Right. Nothing. And the water is very clear there.
Yeah.
I know it can happen, but usually people who have that sort of mindset take a boat.
Yeah. I mean, and then sink the body, right?
Right. Because even sometimes taking someone far offshore, they have floated back.
They float back, right? Yeah. Because you want to, sink it down. I mean, we have all this air and fat in our bodies, so we float, and then
our body builds up gases.
And as it's decomposing, even more. So that, sink it all the way down, and then the fish can eat it or whatever.
Right.
I don't. Yeah. It's still suspicious, and
all of it is. I guess the only thing we know for sure, she's not coming back.
You're right.
I think the thing that tops it for me is his statement. I would like to take this chance to apologize to the Holloway family, to apologize to my own family, to say I hope that the statement I provided brings some kind of closure to everyone involved. I'm no longer the person I was back then. No, you're probably worse, you piece of shit.
Oh.
I don't think you get better. You're not like a fine wine. You don't get better with age.
No.
You're 36 and you were arrested in 2021 for trafficking cocaine into your prison.
Yeah. What's his parole situation there?
I don't
in
think
Peru?
he's eligible.
Okay.
I don't know if that they even have parole.
That's what I was wondering.
They have term limits. Like unless they give you a life sentence, which they didn't, which I don't understand. Maybe because they didn't have her body, or no, they had Stephanie's body. But he only got 28 years.
Right.
The most amount of time you can spend is 35 years, unless it's a life sentence.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. I was curious because, like, is this all a ploy to, like, show something to
some sort of empathy as a human?
Yeah. Like fake.
No, he's
fake
a
empathy.
lizard.
Yeah. All right.
He's a lizard. He is definitely a reptilian.
He's
soulless. Yes, always. Yeah. I wonder what he thinks he can get out of this. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine throwing your dad under the bus?
Yeah.
Your dad who has, taken up for your sociopathy and hid you for years from, the criminal justice system. And then you're like, oh, my dad buried her under some concrete at our house. Yeah. No, he didn't. A kid with so much promise. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter how much promise you have if you're a psychopath.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's this is all his psychopathy for sure. He's messing. He's giving this.
Enjoys telling a story.
Yeah, exactly. He's giving this confession in order to mess with everybody even more again.
I mean, I love that Beth Holloway is like, he's no longer the suspect. He is my daughter's murderer. We could have all said that for sure. The fact that he quote unquote confessed is, I guess, another layer. But I swear to God, I don't even know if I believe him.
I'm with you.
I as soon as it was like, oh, I pushed her into the ocean. It's like, but nothing showed up.
Nothing ever.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And I get it. They were behind the gun in that he gave them so many different scenarios that obviously did not happen.
Right.
Oh, I left her on the beach. She walked home by herself. Oh, I was going to walk her home, but, she was drunk. Oh, the security guard helped her in because she was drunk. Oh, I don't know. I mean.
Yeah. No.
I don't know how many lies, at least a dozen. Different scenarios, different stories, different outcomes of what is that Natalee is no longer with us here.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like something's going to happen in Aruba now where they have enough to, like, push forward.
I hope so.
And they just didn't quite have enough yet. And I hope that this confession, even if it's not a completely accurate confession, I hope that pushes it forward to where they can now get whatever it is that they need, whatever they couldn't quite get before.
Right. And indict him. And, when he gets, he's eligible for parole in Peru, then
just,
boom, or maybe they extradite him to Aruba and try him there. And then he can, I think an Aruban prison is probably much nicer than a Peruvian prison.
Well, I mean, Peruvian prisons sound pretty nice. You can get Coke and all kinds of good stuff there.
Yeah,
it doesn't sound that bad.
Well, yeah. I think, look at his face. He's 36. Time has not been good to him.
Wow. He's still very punchable, though.
Oh, my God. So punchable. Boy, are you right.
Yeah.
You know what? I really like your thought process. I really like thinking that Aruba is going to get all the documents from this, U.S. plea deal and be able to charge him.
Be able to do something.
Yeah. Even after the 12-year.
Right.
I can't believe a statute of limitations, 12 years on homicide. I think that's insane. All righty. Yeah. Well, so that's what we know so far. And I really like Joshua's idea that there's more to come.
I hope.
I think that's, I'm going to hold out hope for that too. I appreciate that, Joshua. If you have a tip on a missing person or an unsolved homicide, or you just want to suggest a case you'd like us to cover, please give us a call at 832-TIPSTER. That's 832-847-7837. You can always email us at jttipsters@gmail.com. You can find us on any of the social media platforms, Just the Tipsters Facebook page, at JTTipsters on Instagram, at JTTipstersPod on Twitter, and more cowbell.
If you would like to support this podcast and get early access and other cool murderous swag, go to patreon.com/justthetipsters.